Epitome is a word.
Epitome isn't a word, Jack.
Epitome is a word. Throat boy.
Mindless feed and then my smart feed. This was on my mindless feed, okay?
Stay in your lane, wine boy. They're like, Jesus Christ. I was like, that's all I've been doing. I just became wine guy to you because of YouTube. I'm like, I am business.
Competition is not about to slow down. More and more people are entering the marketplace, and guess what? Hey, it's my turn now.
The way you're gonna build your brand, or the way people will feel about your brand, it's gonna be by consistency.
New year, new you, new year, new content, new year, new business. However you want to go about it, it's a new year. Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to 2024.
Hey.
All right, first episode of the year. And on this episode, we are going to be talking about that this is finally going to be the year where you grow your online presence. Today, we're going to give you the tips on how to take your business online. Stupid storytelling? Find out what Moose binged on. Is there such thing as feel-good productivity? Review on the new Ali Abdaal's book. And then, new question of the week. For the new year, are we going to invest in ads? Or are we staying organic? What do you think? Moose, how do you feel about this episode?
Man, super excited, y'all. First one of the year. Come on and tap in.
Let's get into this intro.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never before seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And of course, this episode is powered by Ecamm Live, the #1 all-in-one streaming platform that not only allows you to stream on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, either one at a time or all together, but it's amazing for pre-recorded videos, for your training videos, for podcasts, YouTube videos, you name it, it could do it. And of course, for your Zoom meetings, Google meetings, makes you look really dope. It could be like this. You know what I mean? But go get your 14-day trial on us if you just go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ecamm. That's ECAMM for that 14-day trial.
Hello.
Listen,
shout out to Ecamm.
It's 2024. I had to rethink that. Had to rethink that. Moose, new year. How we feeling?
Yeah. Man, you see the little Ecamm merch?
I see you.
You're
I
on
see
mute.
you. Come on.
Go this way a little bit.
Come on.
Yeah, somewhere. I don't know. This mic is messing me up.
There you go.
Yeah,
move the mic.
Yeah.
Move the mic. For the people in audio, he moved the mic and he has a hoodie that says, "You're on mute." So.
Yeah, shout out to Ecamm, man. Sent over some gear for the new year. So I said, okay, some gear for the new year. I like that. I'm down. A little gear for the new year. But things are cool, man. Things are cool. I'm excited for this year. It's officially here. No more planning. The planning is done. So if you're still planning, I mean, I understand, but it's at least for us, we're done planning for the most part.
You're not gonna plan no more.
It's time.
You're done. You're absolutely done.
I feel like I've been planning for this year for a minute, so I'm excited that it's officially here and we can kick this thing off.
Man, I'm like, I want to continuously plan.
A little more planning?
Cool. Because you can't plan for everything, right? So like,
that's true.
You're going to go in for a few weeks. I remember last year, my first, week or two, I thought I had everything planned out, and then I got a flat tire. I wasn't planning for that. Didn't plan for no flat tire. Trying to go get a pretzel. I haven't gone to that Wawa before.
I remember that story, actually. I remember that. Yeah.
I wasn't planning for that. So, just like continuing.
I mean, the reevaluation period is a part of the plan. That's 100%. I mean,
that's
you run it for a little bit, and then
you're not gonna speed past that. Like you didn't just say what you just said.
See what you did there.
Yeah. No, a reevaluation period is definitely a part of the plan. We're gonna run it for a little bit, and then 6-8 weeks. All right, hold up. Let's reevaluate, tighten up. hopefully address any loose screws and keep this thing rolling. So it's in there. It's in there. So I should have said, yeah, there is going to be some more planning, but more on the reevaluation.
Okay. All right. My bad. Okay. So what was the first
Fair
lesson of the year? What's the first lesson of the year?
Well, let me tell you, I started off with a little bit more chill energy, right? I binge watched on some Netflix. For those of you who were chatting with me or anything during the pandemic, you know I was absolutely hooked on Money Heist. So we was watching that thing like fanatics, especially when that third season came out. So I got to that show late originally. I got to it pretty late. So caught up on season 1, season 2, I was engulfed. I loved it. And then the anticipation for season 3, cool. Then out of nowhere, a couple days ago, they do kind of like a spin-off with one of the main characters. So not the whole crew, but just one of the main characters, Berlin to be specific. So they do a Money Heist. This comes out of nowhere. We didn't see no promos, nothing. So I was like, of course I'm gonna watch that. And it just bothered me. It was just one of those shows that I loved it. Of course, I love Money Heist. I love the storyline behind it. But they take so long to get to the point that it just irks you. You're just like, oh, so they know how to put stories together so well that you're watching to see if they're going to be as stupid as you think they're going to be. And you're like, this is stupid. I shouldn't be watching this. But it makes you keep watching. You're like, no, but I want to see.
Storytelling.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, no, that's stupid. You know?
Stupid storytelling.
They know how to prolong the series and keep you locked in, watching no matter, you know, how unrealistic or unreasonable you think this is. You're like, no, but it's like you're almost rooting for them to get it right. You're like, no, you can't be that. You're not going to be that ridiculous. Like, come on, you know? It's like when you watch scary movies back in the day and you're like, don't go in there. Don't, you just leave. The exit is right there for you. Go ahead. Not on this one, Nix. All 8 episodes, they waited till the very end to be like, there you go. So
is the lesson of it? Is it more of here's how to get Moose frustrated, tell stupid stories? Like
that's probably a part of the lesson for real. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure there's a strategy to it to be able to keep people locked in for that long. Mm-hmm. But man, yeah. I mean, hey, I watched all 8 though, so I can't. I guess I'm a part of the statistic. They got me. That's for sure.
I'm just hey, that's series for you. That's just series. Look, I can't say nothing. I just finished watching, what is it? The top, like 5-star chef, right? I binged on that. Shout out to Mom. We binged on that for the holidays. And I don't even know why, because I don't even eat the fancy foods. They're really, really fancy. Like, you know, I think I said it here before. I was like, I don't know if I want to get that rich, right? Because you eat different and you eat less. Yeah. Like, I don't.
That's a fact.
I don't.
That's a fact.
You go outside and you leave hungry. Or you'll have a crazy bill because you got to get all these little small plates. Regardless, that wasn't the lesson. That when you get richer, you eat less. It's not the. Now that I think about it, it could be. But that's not the point. That will go into all demographics about obesity and all that. I'm not going there with y'all. I'm not going there. The one thing that stuck out to me was there was one episode where they talked about, they challenged the people to do a very expensive dish. And they literally said this is for marketing purposes. So you can use all the expensive ingredients you want, lobster, caviar, all these things, in order to create the most expensive dish, right? And they would show other ones, and I followed this account that has like the most expensive burger, the most expensive pasta, the most expensive pizza. And there was some that was like as high as like 1,000, no, 20,000, 10,000, like the price of a car, right? Honda car. Yeah, Honda car, people. Now don't be like, Nicky, the Rolls Royce. No. Honda car, Toyota, something like that, okay, people? But for a burger, I know we went to Salt Bay and I bought like, what was it? It was a $2 $200 burger, 300. It was gold,
Yep.
and it was just for the experience. Now, granted, when you buy certain things, it's cool to see that process, because the whole point was, who is going to be able to take out their phone and snap a picture to say, yo, I got this expensive plate. I got like, nah, boo boo. I got this. You didn't, because it's so expensive. It's really exclusive, right? Only certain people could buy it. So, of course, that reminds me of the book Contagious, because it talks about, it instantly reminds me of the $100 cheesesteak, because I like cheesesteak, right? And how, regardless of how you feel about the price, it's a talking point. You're going to talk about it. You're going to be like, why is it this expensive? Or you're going to try it and try to criticize it on some, is it worth the $100 or is it not worth the $100? Is it worth the $10,000? Is it not? What was the experience that came with it? You know, that really stuck out to me. But also, the other part that stuck out to me on that is, there was this chef called Dom, right? His whole situation was Caribbean food. I'm not going to give away who won or anything like that, but it's crazy, because this is where like environment and mindset kick in, because when he was able to make whatever he wants and put a certain price tag on it, he instantly thought about like 100, 200 pounds, right? Overseas kind of situation. Just think of like over $100, $200. So while other people were like 1,000, 2,000, you know, 500, 600 per plate, he was like 120, because that's what he thought. And plus, when somebody said, yeah, 1,000, he's like, I wouldn't eat out a lot. But it also goes with mindset. If you're trying to attract a certain type of caliber, you got to think, okay, if I create this in this kind of way with this kind of experience, then boom, I can charge this. But I'm only thinking about maybe the audience that I normally attract. And so I'm counting pockets, and maybe if we're thinking about a little bit expensive, I would just charge this. So that was interesting to see, but that was really not my lesson of the week. I just thought that was really, really dope. A book that I mentioned, I think last episode, or the episode last about week. It. Yeah. I got it. Ali Abdaal, Feel Good Productivity, How to Do More Work of What Matters to You. Do more of what matters to you. And I'm pretty much halfway through it, to the point that I actually want to talk about it, which is normally not the normal, because I will finish a book, let it process and everything. But this is a really, really, really good book. Reason why: one, as the title says, Feel Good Productivity. I like the theme of, if you want to do work, if you want to do more work, it's not about the hustle and the grind. It's really just about feeling good, right? Let's start there. That's the first part. It's just about feeling good and finding different energizers to make sure you feel good about it. There's a few things that popped in my head and that really connected with me. Was one, and of course I always connect it to my brand, which is the path of procrastination, right? When it comes to what I talk about, I feel that people procrastinate either starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, even doing content. And there's a few factors that always play a part to be like, oh, damn, yep, I'm on that path, right? So the first one is overestimating, right? You overestimate the negative consequences. So, you know what, I won't get no views, or no one's going to subscribe to no one's going to listen to my podcast. You know, you start thinking about all the negatives than necessarily all the positives. Then the second one is being hypervigilance, right? So becoming overly attentive to signs of success or failure. So now we're looking for the smallest things. Like, see, it didn't happen in the first 2 hours. It's trash. It's horrible, right? Then this one was interesting to me, which was unrecognition, which meaning you like stop identifying the factors that can contribute to a successful outcome, such as like research. So normally where you would get in this habit of looking up certain things, in my case, like certain competitors, and just finding out what works and what doesn't work, I just slack off. And now I'm going with a ignorant mindset of like, oh, I don't know what's going to work. And then of course avoidance. If all of those other things are in place, I'm just gonna put it off. So how he broke down procrastination, I was like, okay, yep, that kind of makes sense. And then another thing that really stood out was, you know how I feel about goals. Not a fan of them. Feels like it limits me, right? And so he talked about these SMART goals that everybody talks about, but he was like, yo, what about nice goals? And I was like, what's that, right? So he talks about it in a sense of ends standing for near term. So that means like the immediate steps. So where your SMART goal would be losing 20 pounds in quarter 1 and 2, the nice goal would be like doing 10 minutes of exercise every single day. Something that you can do immediately to get to that goal, right? The I is for input based. So it like emphasizes the process rather than like the distant abstract goal, right? Controllable. So where we will go, like for those people who are writing books, I'm gonna spend 8 hours writing, every single day, then just making it more controllable of like, I'm gonna write 20 minutes a day. That I'll do that, right? And then energizing for the E part, like where you're integrating play, where you're integrating people. He also has this situation of power, right? So breaking down the nice goals. So having SMART and nice goals, so long-term and short-term goals. I thought that was super fire. And then something that I actually put in place like the last week of 2023, which was time blocking. Do you do time blocking?
I do, specifically for the lunch hour now, believe it or not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From a productivity standpoint, I've noticed that, and sorry if I'm interfering with your section here, but I've noticed that.
I asked you.
Yeah. Anytime I work through lunch, I realize I am significantly more tired, fatigued, and not as effective. But if I can just get a lunch between 12 and 2 somehow, it doesn't have to be exactly at 12 or 12:30, just 12 and 2. If I can get a lunch in, I'm good. Because then if I don't get lunch at between 12 and 2, I end up usually eating around 4 or 5. And that's a super late lunch.
Yeah.
Then I have calls at night. And then there's no way I'm going to eat dinner at a decent hour once you eat at 4 and still go to bed at a you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've noticed for me that 12 to 2 hour just to get lunch in, super effective. So just leaving 45 minutes in there to not schedule meetings, calls, or something like that.
I love that. Yeah, I put it in place in the last week of 2023, and I got in 2 days so much more done than I would have done within a week. It was crazy, right? But how he breaks down the time blocking, now I'm going to put that into play because I started it before reading that. So he said there's 3 levels to time blocking. So level 1 is specific tasks that you are avoiding, right? So finding maybe doing this report or exercising or whatever, you're going to go and you're going to time block those specific things, right? Level 2 is pretty much time blocking most of your day. So turning your to-do list into whole time blocking. So 8 to 9, you're going to, check your emails. So 9 to 9:30, you're going to make a quick phone call to your VA, and you're time blocking your whole to-do list, right? And then level 3 is time blocking your ideal week. So this is where we're talking about work, family, hobbies, exercises, relaxation. You're going to now do that. So you can pretty much have a foundation for the week, but every single day, like your calendar is pretty much filled up, and not just of meetings, of just pretty much your whole day, so you can get those notifications. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see what you did there. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that. So I love the book so far. I believe I'm in chapter 5, and I learned all that in.
That's awesome.
Right, like it's crazy. Really, so go get the book. Ali Abdaal, Feel Good Productivity. Shout out to him. Hopefully he becomes a bestseller, or maybe he already is. I don't know. I didn't really check, but this is a really, really good book, and I'm excited to. I actually listening to the audio. I'm listening to the audio and reading it at the same time. I was walking,
nice,
and I don't really suggest it going out on the streets and reading and walking. That's why I do it inside of my complex. People, some people are in my DMs like, "Watch out for the streets." Or you think I'm that dumb? Mm-hmm. You really? You think I'm crossing the street with my head down to a book? I know I don't live in New York no more, but I'm not dumb. Don't do that. Don't. Right. But
the equivalent of texting and driving. Yeah, no, we feel
like what? Mm-hmm. Granted, it's a lot slower. Like, oh, okay, hold on, I look up. But that's anyways, very, very good, very, 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 very good book. I can't even talk. It's that good. But I heard you're reading a book. I heard you're reading a book that I talked about.
Yeah, you convinced me, man. I was like, you know what? This is a very compelling argument and a great summary. So I'm going to give it a listen myself. So I started listening to Stephen Bartlett, right? Mm-hmm. Diary of a CEO. So I'm about 2 chapters in. It was really, really brief in the morning, but I just loved how super concise he was in delivering his points. He didn't take long to explain something and then prove it and then give stories. Just very simple. And once he got through it, he moved on. And I realized I was doing a lot less zoning out. Because sometimes when something just goes on and on and on, you can zone out. So I was doing a lot less zoning out. So I'm listening to the book, not officially reading it, but really, really good book so far. So yeah, thanks for that recommendation.
Now the question is, are you reading it on speed 1, 1.2, 1.5? Because remember you said you were going to slow it down.
Yeah, let me tell you. I mean, I think, let me see. I got to confirm. So I've been doing this, and I don't know if some of the listeners have been onto this. I might have mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but Spotify now has audiobooks. So I've been utilizing Spotify for a lot of my audiobooks, actually. So let's see here real quick. Okay, 1.6. 1.6 on this one.
Come on. Hold on. Let me see.
1.6.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to slow it up. 1.6. What are you listening at?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Sometimes the author just be talking a little too slow, and I'm like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Hold on. Come on. I got to do dark mode. One is right. Hold on, let me do dark mode. For people.
Yeah,
no, 1. It was 1. Don't do that. Don't. Hold on.
I thought you was flying up.
Hold on. Nope. Let me get my dark mode in real quick, and I'm going to show you.
Let us know, man. Let us know in the comments or somewhere on this. Are you somebody listening to books on regular speed? Are you speeding it up? I want to know right now. Am I the only crazy out here or what?
Come on. Yeah. You see it on the right there? 1 point.
I do.
1.0. That's what I'm saying. If I'm reading it, if I'm reading it with the book, and I'm trying to be true to what we said on the podcast.
No,
I'm going to slow it down.
That's real though. That's real. No, so I'm not doing that. So that's slight to my defense. I'm not reading along with the audio, so I can respect. Because there's no way I'm gonna be able to keep up reading and listening at 1.6. So that's true.
Absolutely not.
But you know what's one thing he mentions in there that's really, really good, and he talks about the importance of writing. like writing about what you learn. So yes, you got to read and learn and teach, but also writing. And honestly, I'm very compelled to make that a main goal of mine, just some form of free writing. I mean, you know, I'm sure AI can give prompts to really make that happen.
These are all like the videos or books that I've read or watched, and I write all the, like when we talked about
Like
Big
you got
Vape,
notes on all of those?
That's all notes. I have a read-watch list. This one, I'm going to go so crazy on that in 2024. I was not as consistent. There was some things I was watching on the go. Like I won't listen to this book unless I'm in a space that I can write notes. So like I won't listen to books driving anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm compelled to add it to my routine because, you know, the way he positioned it, this is the path to making yourself smarter. It's read, write, teach. Like literally those three things: read, write, teach. And I don't know if it's in that order. I got to go back and listen to it. He gives an order of how to do that. But I'm very compelled because I'm saying to myself, you can't write just when you write emails or when you're working on a document or you're writing a caption or a text message. That's not writing. You know, you got to really organize and structure some of that. So I've just did an evaluation of myself. Like I can really up my game in that category. So I literally just thought about it. I said, man, I'm going to use ChatGPT or use some form of AI to give me writing prompts. I could say, you know, I listened to this book or did this, give me a writing prompt and just go and like challenge my mind to think about, almost as if I were going for an MBA or a PhD. I mean, not that I'm going to go crazy with it in that length, but you know what I'm saying? Just exercise the mind a little bit. So I'm compelled to do it for real. I think I'm going to take that up. Yeah.
Yay! Yeah. The writing piece, I like the diary thing. I'm still going at really good, but I realize with writing notes, like I don't know if I'm not confident in my writing, like whether it's penmanship or something. I do so much better speaking. So like that text, speak to text situation that we have. If I need Notion to transcribe, that'd be great, right? They have this other AI app called Reflect that literally I use to speak and it transcribes it and AIs it out and time maps it. But I was like, I'm focusing on Notion. I'm gonna go in Notion, and I need them to have a transcribe situation instead of me doing, because the speech to text on Apple is not always the greatest. I'm not a fan of it. Do you use that more?
That's true. I don't use it much. I'm starting to because I'm really stopping myself from texting and driving now.
Come on.
Like, you know, I'm a father. I want to be around for a long time. So I'm like, hey, come on, dude. This is just stop. You know, stop doing that.
Shout out to all our cops that are listening. Shout out to all our cops. He's doing better.
Yeah. And shout out. And shout out to me, Beer, for 2024, man. 2024 it's been good. We're a couple of days in, and
it's
rocking right now.
It's a new year,
it's
people.
A new year.
It's a new year. Listen, let's get to the creator of the week, and this one has been blowing up on my TikTok, right? Because y'all know. On TikTok, I'm looking up stuff. Well, I have two feeds. I have like my mindless, I'll call it mindless feed, and then my smart feed, right? Where I learn stuff. This was on my mindless feed, okay? My mindless. But I'm actually going to shout out a podcast, the You Should Know podcast, okay? Their clips are hilarious. I think his name is Peyton. The light-skinned dude is a light-skinned dude and a white dude. And the way they fight, I feel like I relate to the light-skinned one. I'm gonna just let y'all hear it. And if you're watching the video, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Bro, you think I'm the worst at everything.
Not everything, but 8 out of 10.
Bro, I think I am the epitome of like what a human should be.
No, you did not. No, rewind. You did not just say epitome.
Epitome. That's the thing. That's high diction. That's high level diction.
Okay,
that's college.
I don't care if you first off, you didn't finish it, but I don't care if you think you were good at English.
I was. I have a certificate.
From who? Ronald McDonald.
Community college.
Community college. Good job. Still college.
Yeah.
I have 3 from that. Anyway,
yeah, because my name's Cam. I couldn't get out, so I stayed for 6 years.
I don't give a damn how it's spelt. Epitome.
Yes, that's the slang version. You're saying that epitome's not a word. Then why can I say it?
I can say gabagoo. That's not a word.
Epitome is a word.
Epitome isn't a word.
Epitome is a word. Throat boy. Honestly,
you are an epitome of a dumbass.
I love it.
There's
Said
one
you are
about
an epitome.
There's one about what animal do you fear? It's a fish conversation. I couldn't put that one because there's too much cursing, but that was hilarious. So Peyton and Cam, shout out to y'all. Creator of the Week, You Should Know podcast. Please go check that out because it is so hilarious. And y'all know I love to debate, and those two debating about the funniest things is hilarious. Moose, did you know about that podcast? Because I'm not even gonna say Creator of the Week. Did you know about that podcast?
Yeah, it's a new year, man. I don't know about that podcast.
It's a new year. I'm learning about this.
It's a new year, man. I'm learning.
I love that. So yeah, go check them out. You're gonna laugh for a very, very, very long time. I don't think I talked about my favorite podcast. We may have to do that the next episode and make them create if we're talking about podcasts and things like that. We'll see. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. So today we're actually going to talk about what will take your online presence to the whole new level that you need to be on with this new year, right? New year, new you, new year, new content, new year, new business, however you want to go about it. It's a new year, right? So today we're just going to focus on how to grow your online presence for your business. Now, we got to talk about the number one rule when it comes to growing an online presence, and that's consistency. All right? It is. I'm sorry. However, Omar from Think Media, and he's growing his personal brand, is so fire. He said something really dope that I wanted to talk about. Moose brought it to my attention. I said, yeah, we definitely gonna put this on the podcast. So listen in real quick.
You can control your outputs, right? But you can't control your outcomes.
That's good.
And this is why I just committed to uploading a podcast a week. That was my committed output. The way you're gonna build your brand, or the way people will feel about your brand, it's gonna be by consistency. And then from the interpretation of what comes consistently is how people feel about your brand. But yeah, if you're not hitting, whatever the output goals are consistently, then, you lose.
So Moose, I wanted you to talk about why you brought this up, and then I'll go with my perspective.
Yeah, because we've heard so many people talk about consistency in the light of content. It's not breaking news in a sense, but the way he really displayed that or communicated that, I thought was a really cool way for people to see it differently, because it's a lot like saying control what you can control, but making that a lot more tangible and saying, not just control what you can control the output. You have to put things out so that you can be consistent. That's the thing that you want to be consistent about, because you might say, I want to be consistent in getting 100 likes per post. You can't control that part.
Right.
Yes, you can say, well, I want to put really, really good content out so that I can get and yeah, but when the algorithm takes a hit, like it always does, that if that is what's determining your output, then your output's going to take a hit, because you're going to say, well, dang, I think I'm getting better with my content, but I'm not getting my likes, right? It's those metrics. So that's the thing that really caught my attention with this one, is to say, hey, not just control what you can control, but control your production or your output level, so that you're making inputs into something that is going to give you that long-term sustainability, where now people on the internet or your audience or whoever it is are going to come across your stuff and start counting on you for that area of expertise that you want to claim, right? You got to understand that the one thing that I'm starting to see, competition is only going to get more fierce.
Yeah.
Now, I know that our job is in a lot of ways to encourage you and push you and show you new ways to remain optimistic about building and starting a brand and scaling a brand and all of those things. But I have to be honest as well, just from my experience and what we're seeing or dealing with, is that competition is not about to slow down. More and more people are entering the marketplace, and guess what? They're coming in with some confidence, ready to knock out the big dogs out of the way. Like, hey, it's my turn now. And so if you're going to do this in 2024, you have to make that commitment, and make your commitment specific to what you're going to do, not what you're going to get. And that's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah. Consistency isn't as hard as we think it is, but it's something that we shouldn't overlook. I'm big on repeating the lesson until you truly get it, aka until you're actually consistent, right? Mm-hmm. So it always starts, and I do like how he brought up, like, yo, I can control what I put out there. You have to commit to what exactly that you're going to put out there. What platform, what type of content, and meaning like content form. Is it going to be reels? Is it going to be long form? Is it going to be images? Like, commit to that, right? And actually post it. Like, even if you don't want to do it manually, do it on a scheduler app, like Later, Buffer, those types of tools. But there's a lot of things that also we got to talk about when it comes to consistency, which is, once we commit, we have to stay truly focused, because we can get into the overthinking stages, right? Okay, yep. I got it. 2024, I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm going to do 2 times a week. I'm going to do three reels a week. I'm good. This is what I'm going to do. And then you get to it. And you're like, this doesn't necessarily look so good. Like, what I've realized is almost how we treat events, right? Like, and here where I'm going with this. I feel like if once you make that commitment, I feel like you should create something and post something right then and there, because you're already having the momentum of like, yo, I'm in this phase. Boom. I'm saying I'm going to do it. Once I say it, I'm actually going to do it. And then once you start, you're like, oh, snap, I can't necessarily back up no more, right? This is where, for those people who do events, right, and are upselling, follow me with this. You actually want to sell to people right after the event, because they're full of momentum. They are in the place, and there's no distractions of, I can't do this. Now, when you say, okay, go home, think about it, process what happened today, and then I'm going to give you the next steps. Now you're allowing people to be like, well, I didn't really understand this. Oh, snap. I'm not sure. The people who are around me that made me feel good, they're not necessarily there anymore. I don't know if I'm ready for this next step. So the same thing when you are making a commitment like that, you have the momentum, you're watching all the videos, you're in different programs, deeperthanthebrand.com, slight plug. But hello. And you're there, you should create and post something at that moment. You should create something about your business, something about your brand, whether it's a long form video, short form image, something written, whatever you feel like creating, do it and post it. Do not think about it. Do not think about it. I sent you a clip with Alex Hormozy, and he was talking about like low views, right? And just changing your mindset with that, where, you know, you may have just get 12 likes. Well, if you think about it, that's a small room. That's a small room. So 12 people you know, or maybe not know, have watched your stuff. If you brought them into a small room, it would fill up the small room. That's not a bad thing. Now then you get 15, then you get 20, then you get 30, and the room gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we'll concentrate on that later, but what are we committing to in the top of the year? So consistency, people. The second one, of course, comes from our guy, Gary V, on what kind of content should you be making when you have a business. So let's talk about that.
You should absolutely start flirting with broader content, 100%. It needs to be part of your mix. The first 50 pieces of business content I made, every comment was, stay in your lane, wine boy. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, that's all I've been doing. I just became wine guy to you because of YouTube. I'm like, I am business. You need to be insane about Facebook fan page output, number one. The game is back at scale. YouTube Shorts, number 2, TikTok, number 3. Okay. You must dominate those 3 arbitrages.
So this is interesting because I want to go to you, because how do you see your 2024? More niche down with content, or going broader with your strategy?
So I'm actually going through a slight adjustment right now as I've been thinking about it, especially after last episode when I mentioned it. You know, one of the things I want to do is focus on stories a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I've pulled back from stories completely to build out the feed, because I realized that I was putting too much time into something that disappears after 24 hours and there's no growth there. So I've had growth over the last year, which has been great. I'm grateful for that. But now I think it's time to nurture that growth a little bit and open up to behind the scenes, especially for where I'm headed, and really owning that business development, the operations hat. It's going to be good to showcase the behind the scenes, because essentially what an operator and a developer do, they are building out the infrastructure. That's not something that you're going to see in the limelight a lot. So I'm going to focus more on the behind the scenes. And honestly, I'm almost holding myself to the fire, because I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that or how I want to display that. But I'm just saying it because I know I need to do it. And that is essentially my goal, is to get rolling a little bit. Now, I have been a little bit flexible in the sense that I'm opening up and showing family a little bit more. At one point, I was really pulling back from that and didn't show anything outside of that. So family, I think, is my area of, you know, being more human and not just the talking head that has something, you know, deep to say, and that's about it. So I think that mixture for the most part is going to be where I'm at. I don't see myself honestly expanding beyond that, because unless something, and I have to say that with a grain of salt, unless something really changes in 2024 and it affects the landscape of where I operate, then I may try and play with it, almost how you did this year with AI, or I should say last year. You know, you saw, okay, I see how this could impact the game, and then you really made use of that, and it was a great move. So I think if something like that comes up my lane, I may look to leverage it appropriately, not a complete rebrand in a sense, but if it makes sense. But for the most part, I think I'm still going to be focused where I'm at, just opening up a little bit more to include nurture content, not just new content or content to bring new people in.
Oh, that's good. I like the nurturing strategy. Me and Trap had this really good conversation about broader content, right? Where people for the most part, will look at Trap for stock tips, right? And I mean, his name is Wall Street Trapper, right? But, and not saying his audience is light. I think he's like over 1 million followers. So like, he doesn't have a small,
Seriously.
yeah, small audience. However, even him is still on some, we need to get bigger, right? And so he's looking at it like, how do I now get the attention of the masses to then do the nurturing strategy for them to understand, well, to get this type of things, you probably have to go more onto the stock side. Or how do I feel about investing in this kind of way, options? How do I truly feel about real estate, right? But looking at it not in a typical way, right? When we look at broad content, you don't want to look at it in, well, let me see what everybody else is doing. So for example, if we were to go a typical way with Trap, you would think about lifestyle marketing, you know, showing all the lavish things and being like, well, Trap, what do you do? Well, I invest. Let me show you how. That's so corny. It's so corny. But shout out to those who are doing it. But that is, even that's not super broad. That's actually reaching a certain audience with a certain pay grade. That's not reaching the masses, right? So when you're reaching the masses, you got to think about the desires that people have, right? The desires of making and saving money, the desires of saving time, the desire of status, the desire of helping other people out, the desire of community, right? And those are the desires of people. And so you're looking at it from, how do I create content from a broad standpoint with that in mind? So he has one of the top ones, how to make and save money, right? So he can go more into that topic and showing the different ways, and then going more niche down on, okay, you want to make it a certain, you want to make it to a certain level, boom. Now let's do these different types of tips, right? But enough for the broad content should get people those trigger words, those things that will be the bait of people, like, oh, okay, you got my attention. Hello, I'm here, right? To then take them through the funnel, take them through your customer journey. So that's the thought process when it comes to broad content. This is why some people would look at trends, right? Because that reaches the masses. But even in with Gary Vee, where we look at that and we go, okay, he talks about entrepreneurship. At the time, like he said, he was doing wine library, and like, so people just thought, just talk about wine. That's it. And that reaches a certain masses, but we got to look at how much are we really trying to grow? Like, realistically, how much are we really trying to grow? Are we okay with talking just to this specific group? Or do we see more for ourselves? Some people are okay just speaking to a specific group. For me, I'm okay with speaking to a specific group, and they will get me out there, right? Other people are going to go more for, like I said, the masses, and then hope that a certain percentage stays and goes through their journey, because that's almost better than, let's say, paid ads at the moment. That organic, broad content can be working a little bit better than paid ads at certain moments. So I love what Gary Vee said. It's definitely a growth way to improve your online presence. At the end, he did go with, let's say, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. And the way that it's looking, that does seem to be the route to go for. And the one thing I would say as a bonus is probably LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been making a lot of noise that even I'm making that part of my 2024 situation where I'm going to, for me, I've realized that I found an app, fireflies.ai, that I'm allowed to put my voice notes in there. It transcribes it, and then I can kind of cater it to like a LinkedIn post, get certain quotes from that. It does well for the podcast content like that. So I'm gonna use more because I'm not a writer. I've said that. I'm going to transcribe what I say, turn it maybe into a LinkedIn post. I'm getting heavy on Threads. I think Threads is going to do some dope, but Facebook is making a comeback. YouTube Shorts has been doing its thing, and TikTok doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So yeah, that's very,
You think there's a chance that the buying behaviors on Instagram will mirror that on TikTok? Like how I've noticed that TikTok is very good with products.
Yeah.
I see a lot, like they almost have like a sponsored section, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they have a shop
for physical products. Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking Instagram is a lot more friendly to digital products, services, that kind of thing. Do you think TikTok will make adjustments so that, because it's just too quick? I don't know, that's just my observation. TikTok is so quick that you can't really build or nurture the same type of relationship with audience members on TikTok as you would on Instagram, or at least that's kind of from what I see from my perspective. So I'm wondering, do you think that TikTok would make any adjustments to deliver a similar experience or mimic those buying behaviors on their platform?
So I know they used to have a shop feature. It didn't work out for them. I know they're trying out different monetization situations. Right now they have the holiday bonus, but it was an invite only. So they're trying different things. I just think they're getting super heavy into the meta side of things, which meaning it's a plug and play, pay to play kind of a system right now, which is unfortunate. And so that's why like TikTok will still be better than them, because they still have that organic reach, even though it seems to be to new people all the time. Like I be following people and then never see their content again unless I go to the friends section, and I don't ever go to the friends section because I want to see other stuff too. Let me see my friends and other stuff. But Instagram is still my main boo, so I'm not saying anything bad about Instagram, but it has turned more into a pay to play. And will like a shopping feature or that kind of style go? It could. I'll leave what I'll say to the question of the week, but it has potential. Instagram will forever has potential. I think Facebook is, like you heard, is trying to come back.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. It's hard. They're definitely a money heavy platform.
Yeah, no, because that's my only complaint about TikTok. I enjoy it. I think it's the most entertaining platform. YouTube Shorts has way too many haters right now. I can't do YouTube Shorts because I feel like the people in the comments just be out of this world.
TikTok is the same way.
Oh, is it? I don't dive too deep into the TikTok comments, but for some reason, YouTube short comments just get to me because I just see it. I'm like, man, you really went out of your way to intentionally be negative. Like it took more time for you to write this comment than it did for you to watch the shorts. You should have just let the short go. But TikTok, super entertaining. I love it, but I just feel that the UI or the user interface is not as compatible, or it doesn't flow together as smoothly as Instagram. Like Instagram really has that experience on lock. Granted, like you said, it's still too high on the pay to play side, but TikTok, way more potential, but just that user interface, that experience is not as great. So I'm wondering if they're going to be making some adjustments. We'll see. It's a new year. I feel like that's been the saying of this episode. It's a new year.
It's a new year.
So we'll see.
Okay, so what is going to be your main platforms of 2024?
Instagram's still the way. Instagram, and I'm thinking about getting back on Threads. I was on Threads early, and then I bounced back. Or left it. By bounced back, I mean like fell back. I feel like I haven't even thought about Threads in a really, really long time. But I think that it could make sense for me to do stories and threads. You know, almost convert some of those thoughts or ideas of what's happening behind the scenes into just either quick or even more detailed threads. And I don't know if there's a limit to how long a thread can be. Is there any limits, like content limits on that?
Oh yeah, because oh man, I don't know.
Like a character limit, you know how?
Yeah. Let me look that up. There is a character limit, and then you go to the next one. I know there's no character limit with X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care, but I like Threads, but I'll get into it in a second. Let me talk for a little bit as I try to find Threads.
So that's my thought. It's like I can see that translating. Okay, got it. So it's a little better than what X at least originally was. I know they don't have a limit anymore over there, but that's a nice, landscape to play around with and convert some of those behind the scenes into written form. And just because I know if there's one thing I know that's going to work is producing more content out of one piece.
Yeah.
So, in detail in that first clip that we showed with Omar, he talks about one podcast or one long form, but why? Because he's trying to extract all of these additional pieces from it. So I want to do the same thing, but reverse engineer from something small, right? Like converting visual into written, etc. So I got to try it. I'm putting more time into what does branding look like in 2024, but I think that nurture piece is going to be big.
So you may want to go do the Dan Coe kind of strategy where he'll write inside of his one is X, aka Twitter. So he'll go on Twitter, he'll see which one gets the most engagement, then he'll create a video off of it. Like he'll do a newsletter off of it, video off of it, because it already shows type of interest.
That's interesting. I like that. Yeah, written first, because I've always usually went with video first for the most part, and it came with written secondary. So that's a nice spin to it. I like that.
But also, so I've been studying another influencer called Justin Welsh, and he goes more of being product first than content. So his product will then be the source for the newsletter, which will then be the source for all the content pieces, right? So when people are introduced to you through the content, then they join your newsletter and they go to your website and they purchase your product. It flows smooth.
Right.
That's kind of the model that I'm looking to take for 2024, where it's like not so much of a guessing game of what I'm going to be talking about. It's probably, there's going to be a section that's going to be focused on the actual product, and so it runs super smooth. So figuring out the top 3 products I want to have, and then creating downward from that.
I really like that strategy. I think we actually talked about this last week after the after show, or between the episode and the after show, but I really like that strategy. I think especially for someone like yourself too, that makes a lot of sense, because it streamlines the whole process And like you said, takes the guessing game out, because to some extent, people still, and even if you make it clear as day, some people still have trouble understanding what someone does. So they can watch content, go through it, and they'll be like, so what do you do? It's like, oh man, I tried really hard making that simple. So I think making it that intentional, if you miss it at one slot, you're gonna get it at the next terminal or the one thereafter. So yeah, I like that. That makes sense, Nick.
Yeah, and this may be more for after show people, but y'all get a preview. So thinking about it, like I already have a newsletter. I have Content Corner, right? And so there's different sections where you're looking at, I got the corner newsstand that kind of talks about social media updates. I got the AI Alley that talks about AI tools, Content Stoop that gives you kind of infographic of like strategy and that whole nine, Content Bodega, which at the same time that now in 2024, that it's going to align with everything in Deeper Than the Brand. So if you hear about, when you read about these particular updates, it's mentioned already in Deeper Than the Brand. The AI tool that I'm probably talking about is already in the AI toolkit, so going along with that way. So it's not so much of a struggle to create the newsletter because I'm just mirroring off of the community.
Yeah, no, that's kind of exactly what I was trying to say too, but just on a different facet of it. But yeah, I truly believe that that's going to be one of the most effective and consistent ways, or even efficient ways, to create in 24. It's just doing a similar line between all the different formats or facets of the content that you've created, so that people can just get connected on what is most comfortable for them, if you will, or what just makes the most sense for them. So yeah, I like that.
Yep. Now, okay, so that's your platforms. My platforms are going to be Instagram. Well, not even Instagram first. I ain't gonna hold you. YouTube, Instagram, Threads is gonna be my top 3. Now I'm gonna get a little bit more busier on TikTok and LinkedIn, but my main 3 is going to be YouTube, Instagram, and Threads. I found I really like the voice note option that it has that allows you to transcribe. So what I'm doing that's helping is I'm having actually longer threads when I do the voice note. So I'll start it off, let's say I grew 66,000 followers in 2023, right? And so I have 3 lessons. Let's go with lesson 1, and I'll talk that out. Yep. It'll write it out, and then I'll go to the next one, do more voice notes. So it gives a different experience of those people who want to read. Y'all get to read that. Y'all want to listen to it? You can listen to it too, because I know I don't like reading. I know cool. I don't like reading. I like so that. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, I think things that are short and concise, especially when written, are, for me at least, super easy. Because sometimes I'll find like really, really good, like I follow Business Insider on Instagram, and they'll have great headlines or things to catch your attention. I'm like, oh, I gotta read that. Then it's so difficult, it's so inconvenient to click the post, go to their profile, open the link tree, find the article that matches up with the thing that you're looking for, and they write a lot, so you have to stream through that. And then when you get to Safari, you now have to scroll through a long passage. I'm like, nah, by then you lost me. But if it can be a little bit easier and it's rather short, I'll run through a quick, 2-minute read. So that works. Random, I don't know why I thought about this, but did you know that on iMessage, from your phone at least, you can listen to voice notes at a faster speed than just the standard 1.0 whatever? No.
Hold on. What are you doing? How'd you do that?
Crazy, right?
You just press the plus, the play button?
If you press and hold play, it gives you options for how fast you want to listen to it. I was like, oh, it's over. I'm not listening to 10-minute voice notes for 10 minutes anymore.
Hold on, you're a liar. Wait.
Check it out. Just press and hold play. Game changer. Yeah, I just found out today. I said, oh, it's over. Yep.
Oh my God.
It's over.
Oh, this is, I'm so mad because
Me too.
Me in the group chat have been speaking longer. I used to make fun of long audio notes. I used to call it podcasts, like mini podcasts. But now I'm starting to do 3-4 minute audio messages, and people are doing that too. And I'll fast forward because I like how you can scrub through it now. I'm like, okay, I don't have to listen to the whole thing. There we go. But this is over. This is
fire.
I'm gonna listen to a 38-second in 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds. I listen to everything faster, obviously, with the books y'all saw. So when I came across that today, it was actually when I was texting you, sent you a voice note, and I did something. I was like, whoa, you could do this? I didn't know that.
Oh.
So super, super dope, man. For all the Apple users, I hope that's a hack, especially if you're a voice note person. That's gonna save you some time right there. Just like, hey, get to the point, buddy, old pal, and run it up. So there it is.
Y'all can send me voice notes now. That's longer than a minute. That's okay, because I could speed it up now. Yay!
Same.
Oh, okay. Look. We good over here. Let's get to. Man, we always this time lately. I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
Wow, 105. Wow.
Right. Let's get to the question of the week, because we definitely missed that last week, so not gonna miss it this week. So question of the week, of course. This segment is sponsored by flightassessment.com. Discover your personal superpowers and learn how to use your superpowers to become a master communicator, strengthen all your relationships, and develop the self-awareness you need to fulfill your highest potential. That's flightassessment.com. I don't know, is it around that time that we got to take another one? I don't know.
It is. Top of the year. You should be evaluating once a year, y'all. Be honest, and
I feel like I'm full-blown pilot this season. In full blown. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. But we'll talk about it on. But
I always like to say this. We could talk about it on the after show. For everyone who's taking it for a second, third, or just an annual review for you, just remember that there is no correlation between the score that you get and an automatic determination if you'll be successful or not. So score has no relationship with success. So be honest. It's all about knowing the truth. That's the most important thing. You got to evaluate yourself honestly. So yeah, that time of the year for sure.
Air horn on that. Yeah. All right. Question of the week. Invest for 2024. Invest more or finally into paid promotions, or rely on organic growth. What you got?
Man, I mean, honestly, I have to go paid this year. I have to go paid. Yeah. I've been doing some research and finding some opportunities online where it doesn't just have to be the traditional, and some may disagree with this, but I just think I have a little pocket for us that may work. Not having to necessarily do Instagram ads and go into that same bubble where you see it and you're frustrated that, oh, here goes another sponsored ad on my feed. So I think we may have found a pocket that is not as strongly depleted or relied on, for our space. So I'm gonna look to dabble in that space a little bit and just create some level of sustainability or consistency, having a portion of revenues reinvested back in to grow the business long term. Because I'm convinced more than ever, what I learned last year in 2023 is that you have to grow your audience or bring in customers, and not necessarily at the highest price point, but just get new people to learn about your brand, your business, and what you can do for them. The more you can do that, you're winning over the long term. But it's very difficult to grow a business 2x, 3x, however much you want to grow your business year over year, if you've attained or acquired 0 new customers in the last year. And so I have to say, yeah, we're gonna have to go growth, because especially for people in our ecosystem, we're very organic first. Like I think we might have ran organic a little too late, honestly, or stayed there organic a little too late. But yeah, it's time to dabble in paid a little bit.
Okay. For me, I'm actually going back to organic growth. Now I'll give you what I'm doing, and then also there's going to be a shift to what I will be doing, right? So first half is going to be organic growth, because for 2023 we did do paid ads, right? And it was adding, meaning I was out there for sure. Like shout out to everybody who's seen my ads. Good on y'all. But at the same time, I'm noticing a shift that organic is making a major comeback as far as conversions, right? We've said it on this podcast multiple times where people are just tired of being sold to. And so to create different types of content that gives a more organic feel should be the focus first. Now, what I said is what I'm going to make a shift in is once the organic growth has numbers, then to put money behind the ones that have success. So not going to truly focus on here we got an AI toolkit. Are you this? Are you feeling like this? Like,
that's good.
Not doing those types of ads anymore. Going to go more on making sure your feed continues to feel an organic side of it, but it may be an ad, right? But I have to get the numbers proven, even though I have a crazy amount of numbers from an organic side that I can put money on it absolutely now. But I want to concentrate, like I'm actually have a meeting, and we'll talk about this on the after show. Shout out to our Patreon users. But I actually have a meeting with the marketing team with we lowering it a tremendous amount or pretty much all the way off in this first quarter to be able to get that data correctly, just because you're starting to see more of a trend of these entrepreneurs that are killing it, making millions of dollars from an organic side of things. Growing the email list is starting to become a thing again, right? Where, for example, Morning Brew. Have you heard? You heard about that situation, right?
Yeah. No, that newsletter business is crazy. There's a couple of them that sold for big numbers.
I'm trying to find the numbers now. Sold.
I think it was 80 million, honestly.
Yeah,
I remember Morning Brew because I came across their story first. Yeah,
75
I came across their story first. Incredible.
Right. So if y'all don't have a newsletter, I'm gonna need y'all to do that. Okay.
It's a big strategy for us in 24.
Yeah.
Newsletter. You do it once a week, once a month? What's that?
Once a week.
What's the frequency actually? Once a week. Okay.
Every Friday, 9 a.m. Right. Actually, I changed up the format for one of those weeks, just to kind of talk to the people. But then the rest is like what I was telling you about, the newsstand, the AI alley, that whole nine. Reason why is because just in case I want to remove myself from it, there's certain sections that just needs kind of like a plug and play. If I was to do I grew to 66K and let me tell you all the different ways and yeah, that would require more of me still in the mix. So I'm trying to, in 2024, place myself to where, though I may be a little bit more active and more in the control seat, there are going to be certain things that are going to be in place that I can set myself up to slowly move out.
Yeah.
So.
I like that. Effective.
But people, you let us know what is going to be your strategy for 2024. Are you going to invest in paid promotions or more of the paid promotions like Moose, or are you going to rely on the organic growth like myself? Let us know that part. Once again, after show, Patreon, okay? Patreon.com/Nicky and Moose. We're going to put it in the description, show notes, everything like that. If you support the podcast, go check it out. We got extra content in there. And of course, in this new year, we are going to get heavy in the live streams inside of there. So y'all know we have the YouTube show. We're going to be transferring a few of those into the Patreon. So be prepared for that. So if you love us on YouTube, you may want to hit us on Patreon. Like I said, patreon.com/Nicky and Moose. Follow us everywhere. Nicky and Moose. Flightassessment.com. deeperthanthebrand.com. Moose, final words.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I'll say this before I give you the final words. But 2024 for this podcast is going to be a real deal, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. And stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, quick story around these, right? These quote cards might look familiar, right? There's a good gentleman who was on this podcast, Nicky Johnson.
Okay, I was like, that looks like Inky stuff.
Inky's quote cards, man. Yeah, he brought them with him to Chicago 120 a couple years back, and they were backstage. So the next day, I'm leading off the morning, and I don't know, I'm just standing backstage. I'm like, yo, Inky's quote cards. So I took them home, and I meant to share one of them on the pod, but I thought this might be fitting for the first one of the year. This one is by Patrick Stump. It says, when you have a bad day, a really bad day, try and treat the world better than it treated you. Final words.